Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for May 31st, 2022. We're having this meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning as a majority of the membership of the board would like to attend the superintendent interviews, which are scheduled at the school committee meeting starting at 4 o'clock this afternoon. To give our members the opportunity to attend and, if possible, participate during public comment, we've rescheduled this weekly meeting. We have put on an abbreviated agenda so that things that are more concerned to a greater percentage of the public would be covered at our next meeting next Monday in June. I would ask you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being held over Zoom to provide greater access by the public, and it will be available on our YouTube channel later today. Bob is working that into a pay-per-view channel, aren't you, Bob?
Yes.
First, I'd like to thank the town for their participation in Memorial Day activities yesterday, especially one of our guests here, Ellen Moriarty, for the great band she had on the front lawn. She'll be regaling us with a number of their tunes later, after the camera stops. So first on our agenda is a discussion of the salt issue and the issue at 601 Main Street. We had Mrs. Broderick up here before us last week, and we had a good discussion on whether the town was responsible to mitigate her boiler situation. That is, was it caused by the contamination from the salt shed? And I think a majority of the board feels that that underlying statement is probably true, that we're responsible to mitigate that. There is some clerical work that needs to be done in terms of like the agreement, et cetera. But I think from my standpoint is, I think we should go ahead and take care of that issue. Craig, your thoughts as chairman of the Board of Health?
Yeah, reading the verbiage of the contract, it reads to me that we are responsible for that.
Mhm.
So I believe in the Board of Health revolving account, there's excess funds where we could fund this.
There's about 45,000 in Board of Health revolving, and that number has been growing because of the regional agreement we have now. The expenses are covered out of the grant.
Right.
So basically, we've been taking revenue in and
Right.
not having to spend it out.
Right.
Since we typically wipe or sweep revolving accounts at the end of the fiscal year, this money would go into the general fund or to be expended for health issues.
Right.
I think, in my opinion, this is an appropriate use to take care of that. Greg, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agreed. I think it'd be in the best interest of the town to help the resident out of 601. It's been an ongoing problem, and obviously looking at the numbers, it was a continued problem even afterwards. So I think it would be wise that we take care of it, and we have the funds to do it with that revolving account, and that's by all means.
Okay, I believe we've gotten 2 or 3 quotes. The requirement, Bob, as you checked into 30B, is that we get 3 quotes.
Written quotes.
3 written quotes. Did not need to be posted
Yep.
because it was, I think the limit's 50 now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you have 3 written quotes back.
Yeah.
We're obviously our major concern, not just the price, but also delivery.
Supply.
Supply chain is obviously an issue. Do we have copies of those printed?
I was,
I think they were roughly right around 21,000,
yeah,
roughly.
and I was waiting to hear because you would ask me to check on delivery time,
From the
etc.
other 2.
I didn't see that I have responses yet, so,
We did get a response from Off Fuels.
Right.
They changed boilers to get one that was more commonly available and still a good model. And they gave a couple of dates in June when they could do the installation.
I can put this on the screen, but I think you've got the number right there. And
So based on the fact that they guaranteed their local place, they've done work before and they're familiar with the system.
Mhm.
And again, the pricing is pretty much, as Craig said, all the same.
Yeah, they're all pretty much right.
excuse me,
Mhm.
those are for the water.
I would entertain a motion to award the order to Off Fuels for replacement contingent on Bob working out the updated agreement with the homeowner
Do we need to actually award the contract to a particular company at this time, or can we just approve the money from the fund? If we're still waiting, like Pam said, on one person to get back to us.
But I think money wise, I mean, the only question we have from the other two was delivery. Not so much, we had the amounts.
Right, I think, you know,
So since we know delivery is good with this one and the amount is, they're all the same thing, we just lock in. If we delay a little longer,
well,
who knows, this may not be available.
I don't necessarily know we need to delay it, as long as we approve the funds and they're all the similar costs, I mean,
No, they need to order it.
they need to order it.
They need to order it because if they wait a week to order, it's gone. That's what I've seen. My place is things that I thought were in stock, they were, but you didn't place the order, so it went to somebody else.
Right, so my,
Just like a car or a police car or something like that.
right, so we can award the funds, but do we have to vote on the actual supplier as well?
I would like to do that. That way he puts the item aside and it's ours. It's got our name on it.
Then I will make a motion to approve the contract for water heater replacement at 601 Main Street from Off Fuels supplied price. I think the contract was what, 3 weeks out?
We had 2 dates here and I would go for the later date only.
June.
That would give Bob a little more time to make sure the agreement is done. And what we're looking for, if I can summarize, the change in the current agreement is that going forward, as other members of the Scannick Valley Water District, selling the property to a non-family member means the new people are now paying for water usage. As currently.
Correct, yeah, that's the standard under the current district. So
Right.
now that the new houses are underneath the Scannick Valley Water District, they would abide by all guidelines, rules, and regulations of the Scannick Valley Water District. And
Correct.
did you end up sending out that memo for me?
I didn't send it yet.
Okay,
But
you have
I
that.
got
It
your
looked good. That
response.
last version was perfect.
yeah.
We
So
can
that
send
will
that
go
out to the
today.
new people. And then John Plaster's here. You have the booklet still, right?
Yes, I was just waiting for a consumer conference report.
And that's coming out, we said, what, and, yeah, early July, right?
Yes.
And then we're gonna send that to all customers. Okay.
And this is going to be the final release for Mrs.
Mhm.
Broderick.
Yeah, that's coming with the consumer
Yes.
conference report, which is gonna have
Yes.
the numbers from the district and
Yeah.
everything, because we want to have that out there.
And Don expressed he expressed a general agreement with this procedure, just wants to make sure that the town is protected going forward with an updated agreement, which he shared his concern with Bob, and I believe Craig and I agree with that.
Yeah, and you reached out to Rose, you said, Bob?
I did.
Okay,
And-
good.
She's going to,
I sent her a message saying that this is where we are and we need a final release. And we need a paragraph that specifies that unless this property is conveyed to a family member, that any new owner,
Mhm.
unrelated, would pay the standard water rates.
and there may be some verbiage in there to remove the town from liability in the future, because it is no longer that well or their personal well.
Mhm,
You know, it's part of the district, public water supply per se.
mhm.
So all in favor of Craig's motion to award the boiler replacement award, if you will, to Off Fuels?
Mhm.
Thank you. All right, next, we had on the agenda a Sunday entertainment license for Great Horse. However, the Sunday license does require a written response from the police chief. We have a verbal, we don't have it in writing yet, so we'll pass that to next Monday.
Okay.
And Pam will work with Scotty on getting that to us, please. Thank you.
Mhm.
Water bottle filling station, and we have with us the library director, Ellen Moriarty. This I saw, basically you were posting a meeting about it, and like,
Mhm.
this is a great opportunity for improvement up there because it's kind of our building and you have a great idea, but we have funds in, is there someone we can partner up with you on this?
For sure. Would love to partner up. with
Craig is
you.
an expert with a wrench. He can do any work you need.
Okay. I got the name of this plumber from Jane because we've used them before. And they came out and looked at the situation and gave us this quote. The model that I picked out was, it doesn't have to be that particular model,
Mhm.
but I like the idea that it was freestanding.
Ellen, can I interrupt? Can you go back to the history of it? Why did this come up and what was your thought? I mean, we've had a bubbler for 100 years. and-
Right, and it's not working.
Okay.
So it's kind of an eyesore and with people wanting water, like usually we give out plastic bottles to at all our events. And I don't like that too much.
Mhm.
And it actually started when I was in California a couple of years ago. I was staying at a place that had one.
Mhm.
And every single person who left the place filled up their water bottle, and it had it was keeping track of how many plastic bottles it replaced, and it was over 400,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I thought that was pretty cool. Like our tap water is great. It's fine. My water at home is awesome. I love my water. I don't think we need to be generating, more single-use plastic.
Mhm.
And I believe they're starting to get them in the schools now, because bubblers, like with COVID,
Mhm.
it's not a good health option.
Yeah, they do have them over here at Green Meadows
Yeah,
now, and it's
so-
a sanitary thing too.
Right,
Yeah.
and so it's a no touch, you just put your water bottle
Mhm.
under it, and of course I bought some really snazzy stainless steel water bottles that say Hamden Public Library on them that I'm gonna give out for summer reading, so that everyone will have one and they can just fill it. I think most
That's a
people,
great idea.
most kids anyway already have water bottles. And it just seems like it would be something that would be kind of environmentally good.
Would you put disposable cups with them too? Paper cups? No? What about somebody that wants the water, like the old style water fountain? You can go over, anybody could use it. Obviously, it's a sanitary concern.
Right.
What about somebody that's, doesn't have a bottle with them and could they have a paper cup?
We'll give them a water bottle.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have,
Write their name on it and come on back.
there you go. That's it.
Or they could just.
No,
No.
we won't let them do that.
Is there much, are we gonna work this into the cleaning crew? Should they be wiping it down on?
No, it's no touch.
No touch.
You don't
Yeah.
touch it. You just put your water bottle under and it comes right out, and that's it.
You hope. I don't know if you're seeing some of the 3-year-olds. Okay.
Right, that, and it's only, cold water.
Okay.
Yeah, the hot water, that's downstairs.
Right.
We have that situation. I wouldn't have that up here, with the kids. So,
So you have 2 different prices.
yeah, and this company, LK, this plumbing, company is very familiar with them, and they've installed many of them.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of different models. I just picked this one because it looked like it was what would be good for us. I like that it had the counter on it,
Mhm.
to keep track of how many plastic bottles we diverted from the landfill. And but I'm totally open to having you guys go on their website and pick out something different. It doesn't
Oh.
matter at all to me what's there.
My thing would be, because I know you're so tied into the state, et cetera, if you want to put a message out to your CWMR peeps and say, hey, you know what, we're gonna put one in. What's been your experience? And they say 90% will say, hey, this model has been terrific, easy to service. And
Yeah, I
whatever.
could do that.
And then from our standpoint, I was looking through the accounts,
Sure.
we have plenty of money in townhouse maintenance.
Okay,
Which
oh,
to
that'd be
me-
great.
This would be an upgrade to the bubbler, so it's
Yeah.
part of maintenance. So for the board to say, we would approve up to $6,000 for the replacement of the bubbler with a water fill station.
Okay.
And then if you found such a model that it went to 65, and I'm sure the
Oh,
friends would
yeah.
kick in the rest or something like that, or whichever.
Do both of these quote options here have the counter on them, or is it only the first option?
They threw in that second one. I'm not really sure about that one, but
Okay.
also the other piece was up at the top. Where they say if any walls need to be opened or patched,
Yeah,
it would not, that would have to be done by someone else. So I put a call into Brant, the vice president of EWS, and he hasn't gotten back to me. I asked, is there someone that they use to do that kind of repair work? Because I think when they pull out the old bubblers, there's going to be some exposed, because there's 2 bubblers,
correct.
the tall one and the small one. So I don't know how they're gonna work it. The small one is in kind of like a little indented area, so that would probably be where the water filling station would be.
Mhm.
But when they pull out the other one, I don't know, because the walls are, that cinder block.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Now, do you have to sign a contract with them for filter replacements?
well, I don't know. I asked for an extra filter, because that's what I did with my air
Yeah.
filters, just to have it on hand.
Yeah, that
when I
comes with
needed it.
filters.
But I don't know, I don't think so. I
Is it
think we
something
would just
simple
buy
that we
it
could
from
do,
them.
like
It's almost like a coloring cartridge, you're just putting it out or something.
I think so,
You
yeah.
know, with my water bubbler at home, I just pull a cartridge out with a new
Right.
one, it's good to go.
How
I'm
often
assuming
is it
that's what
per
it is.
gallon or something?
It's like every 6 months.
Is it monthly or how many gallons go through it? Or?
They just say roughly every 6 months.
Okay.
So,
At least the one I have.
Oh, now you've got me a little concerned about the amount we're talking about. If there's a couple $1,000s in, obviously wall work, et cetera.
right.
Um,
Well, how about this?
Or-
Since you guys are gonna put in the money for the initial installation of it, we'll pay for the filters.
I kind of wondered, you have this on your agenda. Was this something that the library was thinking of funding?
Yes, initially, yeah.
originally?
And I'm sorry I didn't go to you guys first. I went to Bob and he thought it was a good
I
idea.
think
But
we
I
all
didn't
do, but
think-
we'd like to partner up.
Yeah, sure. I definitely wanted to have us pay for some of it. But then it got into the plumbing and the walls, and then it's a whole can of worms with that. So just to know that we're willing to pay also, and we would definitely pay for the filters.
I
Okay,
think
there's-
John's point there was if we offer up to this amount, you said what, $6,000 out of
Yeah.
the townhouse maintenance budget. And then you could just, if there's any additional costs, whether it's wall repair or plumbing.
Sure.
it'll just come out of the library account or funds or
That would be fun.
friends of account.
The one
Yeah.
thing that does concern me is timing. And this is because here we are at the last month.
Yep.
If we're to extend it, we have money left over, but it's got to be expended by June 30th.
Oh.
Date of it.
Well, we,
Okay.
So, the
actually,
best
we have a
thing is-
signed contract, Clifton and Cumber,
Exactly. So the
but we
best
need
thing
to
is
make
that
sure we have
we
a
go ahead
commitment to spend.
and encumber for the hardware because we know
Yeah.
they're going to give you a bill for that. But
Okay,
the guy says, well, I can't get over there until July. Well, that's the money you spend
okay,
because your
Yeah.
budget. comes
sure.
out.
That sounds good. That we would definitely do that.
But we're not going to put you on under any gun here. I think right now, I'd like a motion to partner up with you,
Sure.
authorize, I don't even know if it needs a motion formally. Basically, it's
It's
townhouse
already
maintenance.
there.
Okay,
You have a townhouse maintenance, we approve of it.
okay.
We're comfortable with an amount of 6,000 from, which I think it's like 12,000 less than
Townhouse maintenance budget.
Yeah, we have,
quite a bit.
yeah,
Yeah, quite a bit. So,
Awesome.
and if
Thank
there's
you.
something else comes up, come back to us. I want to applaud actually for the work you did. You came in over the weekend. Ellen doing the shelving work on the weekend here, and I saw the skids, I'm like, what's all this? I'm like,
She was wearing it on her shirt today too.
"That's no show."
Was that intentional?
No,
No.
yeah, I have a collection.
I think I-
Yes.
So do we need a motion or are we
I don't
just,
think so. I think she's come in with a request to have a use of townhouse maintenance.
Mhm.
We're good with it,
Mhm.
and Bob will handle it from here on.
I like the idea of the counter one. So I mean, I'll trust your judgment where you think is best over there.
Okay,
You've done the research on it. So, and
sure.
I think it'd be kind of cool to say, oh, you saved how many bottles?
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
You know,
Where's the one at Green Meadows?
I believe they have them in the hallway.
At the entrance?
No, there's one down by the third grade classrooms from what I remember. I know my son uses it.
I know the
Nice.
bubbler used to be at the entrance of the bathroom.
and the townhouse water is good.
it's
I use it
right,
every
yes.
day to make coffee and I'm still here.
That's right.
Oh, that's because we have that before.
Okay, great. Well,
Right.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Ellen.
Okay.
Is there any other business to come before the board?
I have just a quick report.
Okay.
I passed out. We have a signed contract with Blackboard Connect
Mhm.
for emergency communications. It takes effect July 1, and we're setting up training now.
For
Certainly,
who?
well, that's the question for the board. My thought is me or your town administrator, Pam, Jane, just so we have a bench there in case one of us is not available. We need to get a emergency message out.
Okay. That sounds
And
good.
anybody else that would want to participate.
Well, I think we had Blackboard before. I think at that point it was pretty much Pam
Yeah.
and board members, Scotty or Jeff at that time. which-
Yeah, the chief of police will be part of
You
that too.
But I mean,
And
this is where we had the concern before, too many robocalls.
Yep.
People are like tuning them out or
Yes,
blocking them. So I
right,
think
exactly.
that type of thing. I have no problem with use of the robo system, maybe if it's all funneled through
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
Pam.
Right.
And the occasional weekend, a member of the board or something.
Yeah, I think, as when we switch over to Blackboard, we should put another message out on the website or whatever, just so people know they can sign up for it.
Yep.
Because I don't know if everybody knows they can sign up for the calls.
Mhm.
You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, I never got a call. I never got a call.
Yeah, you gotta, you
So
have
they
to
don't know
sign
how.
up if you have a cell phone that you want
Right.
included. They
You know,
have
and they can also do
the
emails. too.
landlines themselves. They have the list of landlines, but they don't have cell phone numbers. And so you have to actually provide that.
Right.
So put that in the, I mean, before we put it in the scribe, so the
Mhm.
seniors have that type of thing.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and I did refer the citizens petition from the annual town meeting to Attorney Timmy for his opinion on just when selectmen should act on that, whether you should wait until the court case is concluded or whether you should act sooner. So we'll get a response back on that. And then lastly, been talking with a number of department heads about space. They have actually come to me and said, I'm drowning in paper. And so I think we have two options. Well, three options. Just let it accumulate, number one. Number two, get a private company to come in and digitize a lot of paper. Or number three, get a system that we could move around. I've seen them, you know, one of these, basically it's a sheet feeder and a good scanner, and it's on wheels, and you move it around from department to department, give each department a day or give them a period of time when they can scan current paper, and then over time they can go back and get and scan paper that they need to keep, that they don't need to keep in that format into the system. And then everybody would get an icon on their desk so you can tap into it and get access to that paper.
Would this be a rental thing? Do they come in and do it like a rental charge, come in for an hour or 2
Yeah.
hours or however long?
Well, ProShred is the company that, well, Jane mentioned this company, and I haven't looked into them, but if we want to do that, fine. If we want to have our own system, it would be like a microfiche, which I like, frankly. And then we have control over it. I think I can get a grant from the state under the Community Compact Program to purchase this kind of system with microfiche. And it might end up being $20,000.
Can we also look into the storage too? Like,
I was just gonna mention.
where's the data going? Are we keeping it on our internal server or is it being stored on hard drives?
Well, to the digital storage, right? I mean, to me, the big thing is teaching people how to identify the files they put up there
Right.
for later retrieval.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just scanning it. You don't, you know, this is minute.
You got to meta tag it and code it.
That they'll require some training because people who do the scanning will have to establish folders.
Right.
And they were the ones who will direct the scanned material into a particular folder.
The other option is, option 5 is, when I was talking to Herb before the town meeting, they still have plenty of room over there. If there are documents, look, I'm drowning in paper,
Yeah.
but I'm a bit of a hoarder. I don't want to let these 55 Xerox boxes go.
Mhm.
There is room at Thornton Burgess to store it,
Mhm.
and accessibility whenever we need. So that is an option.
I think that would be part of the system too, because there are some files that we are legally required to keep in paper format, particularly
But
with
they
the
take
clerk's
time.
office. Yeah.
Right, especially the treasurer. with the
Payroll
and things like that.
records and those kinds of things.
And of course, the huge files that the building department, and planning department, and Concom
Will
have.
they be able to scan those plans that they have?
You can buy large scale scanners. I have one in my office.
Right.
you know.
So,
Well, that eventually, I think that's where the town needs to go, this large format system, so that the planning board can operate
can we get a community
electronically.
compact grant to fund not just the machine, but obviously it's going to be time intensive to sit there and scan paperwork 8 hours a day or however long it take. Then you have to back it up on the server. Everybody's got to do it, create their own file. Can we get a community compact grant to pay for a dedicated person to digitize our documents?
That'd be a very good idea.
So
I'm
that way
not,
we're not
I'm
relying
not
on every
aware
department on their
that
time.
that would be available, but you know, if the board wants to go forward, then I'll continue to do more
Couple tax work.
background work here to find
Exactly.
out
That
what's
works.
available and costs and some of these other questions that have been raised.
Yeah, and we've talked about this honestly for a year that I've been on the board and nothing's changed yet. So I think we should definitely make a step forward and look into either, like you said, tax work off for somebody or a community compact
Yeah.
grant, pay for those hours so somebody can do this,
Somebody can do it.
a dedicated person, because not, a lot of the boards are all volunteer.
Yeah.
When are they gonna have time to come in there and spend
That's
8
right.
weeks worth of time to digitize their files? If we have somebody dedicated to do it, then it'd be a best interest.
The other thing, and I think you mentioned back, but I'd like to see some of the boards that have large scale require the people to come in with a digital copy as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm,
So I was at the planning board meeting last week.
mhm,
Al Joyce came in to talk about his subdivision on Chapin.
mhm.
It would have been great if he'd also sent the PDF or whatever, so it could have been up on the screen for people to see. And then digital copy for the membership.
I know a lot of planning boards require that.
Right.
And a lot of the engineering firms already can do it.
I mean,
So
of course, you still have your plans. You need to sign
Yeah.
5 copies
Yeah.
for this. And there's a
Mylars
linen
and all
one for
that.
the Boston court, which
Yeah.
has just been around since the 1700s for unregistered land, something like that.
Mhm.
So,
I did send a memo out to everybody in all department heads to let them know that, just that, your suggestion, that Bob, at least in our, receive information, so it's ready for presentation the night of the meeting. And I did send that out to everyone.
and then you have it in the folder as well, so we can.
On our OneDrive.
Right, yeah, good. All right,
Did Nancy have a question, or? was
yes,
that-
she did, so.
Yes, I did. Right.
Nancy,
Thank you.
A couple comments.
Yes, right. Thank you. I have this question based on experience in living where I live and then reading all the Facebook comments on speeding. So because I am a community educator, the first thing that popped into mind would be, would it be possible for the selectmen, because you're the boss of the police department, to host a couple of community meetings, maybe even to divide up the town into neighborhoods, like Woodland Park, Bayberry, and the other one. So that's one part. And the second part is to post speed limit signs in the residential developments. I think it's very effective that you have the 30-mile-an-hour sign going down the hill across from the apartments. On Main Street.
I think that actually, is that ours or did I personally put that up?
On Main Street?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know that we have the ones if you're coming
I think somebody.
from the
put that
west.
I think it's personal.
Heading
It's 30
east, there's
miles
a bunch.
like,
The one on Main Street, I think is not official. It was done by an individual.
The 30-mile-an-hour sign, or the one that's. a
one that
little
says
closer?
it's 30 miles an hour for a reason.
Oh, well, that's obviously handmade. Yeah, that's not.
Right.
But there are posted speed limit signs there that goes from 40 down to 30. So there are.
And then up to 35.
Yeah, when you get past the center or down here.
No, it's more like around the Federated Church, 35.
Back up to 35
I
there.
think what Nancy's point is education is
Yeah.
key for this type of thing. And you're right. I mean,
Yes,
we've heard comments for years, typically right after you pave a road where people. No, seriously, I heard that on Bennett.
yes,
Panic.
right.
Thank you for paving is the first week. The second week, oh my gosh, they're driving faster because you got rid of the moguls.
Right.
And it's an education, it really is.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah.
The best words are drive like your kids live there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I remember the tragic accident after Wilbraham Road was widened and paved and where those high schoolers died.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough when you're seeing people walking on the street edge too, when the traffic's going whizzing by them.
Mhm.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Nancy.
Any thoughts, please?
Yep.
Any more business to come before the board?
Um,
Appointments, you're gearing that together?
Yep.
Okay.
Just
And Bob, anything on you're getting the ambulance committee together to come in sometime in June? I wasn't talking
I-
action, I was
The
talking the
sixth.
committee.
After this meeting, I want to show you the preliminary agenda that I have and
It's not Biden, is it?
no, not later today. Couldn't talk to him this morning.
too busy. You're too busy.
Yeah, that's right. So
Excuse me, Mr. President, I'm too busy.
I want to show you the agenda, and I put it on the agenda for Monday.
Okay.
The ambulance. And I did advise, I sent an email to both Rock and Frank and saying, we'd like to have your participation, and they've agreed to it. So just a matter of,
I thought Frank left.
I invited them initially,
yeah,
and then you said,
No,
no,
it was
no,
always the committee is what I wanted. not the
Right.
company.
it's the committee. So
So we're doing
I,
our committee runs on a monthly basis and then alphabetically. I don't know if we're gonna do the ADA committee, but
Yeah.
maybe appeals after that.
well, I also mentioned it because I also asked him a question as to whether or not, and this was answered by Frank, whether or not Holyoke had signed a contract.
Mhm.
I think Don had sent me a message saying, check on Holyoke. And they have not. They're just in the preliminary stages right now. So,
The other question would be, I was talking to somebody and I think they said stormwater, a lot of them are interested in coming back.
well, they stated that
Yeah,
at one of our
right.
meetings, that they would give you all until the end of June.
Yeah.
And then they were done.
We need to either make that official with Andrew and then put our request for that. And if we don't have a stormwater committee, my opinion would be the responsibility would delve to either Wendell, planning, or a combination of the two. Almost like it's a subcommittee of planning, just like Ridgeline is, basically. Okay, any other thoughts?
I met with Whip City Fiber Optic Committee met last week. As Bob had mentioned before, we were awarded the Community Compact Grant, and we were just discussing next step possibilities and what that would entail. Wasn't a lot of discussion, but Whip City would like to come in and meet with the whole Board of Selectmen just to go over the next steps. Obviously, we would need to vote on as a board the approvals for utilizing that grant for the next phase of operations and what the longevity and a long-term plan would be. So they want to come in and present that.
you want to do that June 6th? Because so far the agenda is fairly thin.
They actually want to do June 14th. They can't
Okay.
do the 6th. So they requested June 14th.
Like that.
So I need clarification, the ambulance oversight only, or
Oh, they bring rocket. I want to, like we've always been doing, meeting with
I
town
understand
appointed
that.
committee, so.
I understand that, but I rescinded the invitation when I said I made a mistake. Apparently, it's the oversight committee
Mhm.
the board wanted to meet with.
Yeah, if Rock wants to come in too, that's great, sure.
Oh, I thought that you wanted to.
I would think it would be good to have them there as
well.
well.
Yeah, I want the committee,
Yeah.
if Rock would like to come, great, we should go, because we are coming into third year.
Yeah.
What is our plan? What's their plan? What is-
What does the contract gonna look like going forward if we continue?
And the next question would be for the fall, same thing for transfer station.
I just posted in the folder for June 6th, the January to June report from Action Ambulance.
Okay. Did you just get those or were those?
Yeah.
Okay, you just got them from Action?
Yeah. Yeah.
Recently,
Within the last few days,
January to June,
this past
this
year?
year.
Are we supposed to be getting those
June
monthly?
isn't over yet.
But they give us semi-annual reports as well. These are the ones with the fancy.
Have they been supplying the monthly reports though?
Yes,
Okay,
June 1st is tomorrow. They gave us January to June.
yeah, they did.
Of the month that hasn't happened yet.
That's right.
estimation?
Are you sure it wasn't just January?
No, it's 2022.
Uh-huh. Okay. Seeing nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn
You don't want to hang out and talk more?
on camera.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion, all in favor.
Aye.
Thank you. Stay
Thank you.